What is up, Drabonies? JJ back here with JoeyWerk, talking a little MLB. Actually, do you like this format or do you like a little more spread out?
Doesn't matter to me, sir. You're in charge.
Um, that usually doesn't work out well, but we'll stick to this. We'll stick to this. Without Holden, I feel like we can get a little more up close and personal.
Yeah.
What do you think Holden's doing right now?
Probably still sleeping. I mean, what is he? A couple hours earlier than us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe he made some breakfast for the kids. I don't know. Probably, he probably had a couple edibles last night, so he's sleeping in a little bit. That would be my imagination.
such a classy human. Joe, I know you're close with the Padre. So what's brewing today?
Yeah, we're just going to a brewery. I'll probably, my mom will definitely drive him home, because he'll probably drink a little too much. I may even end up driving him home. Who knows?
Love it, love it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not fortunate like that. My father does not drink, so I don't have those opportunities. But however, he will be enjoying himself on a cruise that apparently my little sister paid for. So yeah, we'll see, we'll see. But I need to say, interesting slate here of games. It was nice yesterday for me to go 2-0-1 on the show. You know, it felt like 3-0 was in the grasp. But then again, with how that fifth inning went in Colorado, felt very fortunate to push there. And of course, Colorado wins the game outright, which also kind of sucks. But needless to say, we move into today, and I've been looking at this slate. Obviously, you have as well. I have a few bets I made. You have a few bets you made. This slate seems difficult today. Not even just because I just feel like the lines are relatively sharp today. What was your take overall on the lines up and down the board?
I think it's a dog day. I wouldn't be against taking a lot of dogs today, personally. I think we're in basically the middle of the season where you got to find value, and that's what I've been doing. I've been taking a lot of dogs lately, and you hit 2 or 3. Even sometimes you hit 1 or 3, and you're still plus money on the day at the end of the day. So that's what I'm going to attack today.
Love it.
Happy
Love
Father's
it.
Day to everybody in the chat as well. Yes.
Yes, good point. I mean, I know we briefly talked on indirectly Father's Day, but yes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, including Mr. Holden Kushner. I'd say we miss him on this show, Joey, but I'm not going to be a liar. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and lie. But Holden will likely be back next week. Oops.
Johnny Nelson.
What's up, Johnny? Loa and Trav. So I guess without further ado, we could just dive right in. Obviously, without Holden in the mix, this show should run pretty smooth. Right through. Again, we have another Peacock game, which is about to start. Nationals, Phillies. Do you have any insight here, Joey?
Not really. Phillies have been hot. I think they're going for the 4-game sweep here of the Nationals. Eflin versus, I can't even pronounce the other guy's name, but I mean, this is probably one where I would not take the dog, but obviously this game starts I think it just started, so this is just a pass. Plenty of other options.
It's a pass for me as well. I am 1-1 on Sunday Peacock games, and that is likely where I'm going to end my career. I don't like these early games. I don't even know why they're doing them, to be honest. I guess they're trying to get people watching games earlier. I just the whole scheduling doesn't make any sense to me. On Saturdays, they don't start every game until 4:00, and then now they're starting games at 11 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. on Sundays. It's just none of it makes sense to me. Am I alone on that island, Joey, or are you in agreement there?
No, I haven't watched one of these Peacock games yet, and I don't even plan on it. So.
What's your thoughts on the Apple TV games that they're squeezing
Oh
into?
my god, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. I can't watch the Yankees, the games that are on Apple TV. And
you literally need 12 different MLB subscriptions to watch every MLB game. There's Apple
terrible.
TV, there's Peacock, YouTube TV is another one that they're
throwing. Yeah, YouTube's normally free. When the games are on YouTube, they're normally free. So I have MLB TV, but the Yankees are blacked out in the area because I'm in New Jersey, so the only games I can't really watch is the Yankees on this fucking Apple TV bullshit.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. What's up, Mamba? Leroy Ray, best pie eater. All right, so we'll move on. Pirates, Giants, Mitch Keller, Alex Cobb, San Fran about $1.90, total 8.5. Anything you like here, Joey?
I honestly was tempted to take the dog here as well. I know Keller has pitched pretty decent his last couple starts. As you know, he has good stuff. He just never put it all together. I know they started him in the bullpen the last couple games he has started, and he's pitched pretty decent. and it's a nice juicy price here. And then on the other end, old Alex Cobb. I mean, I don't know how much longer he's going to continue in this league. 2 of his last 3 starts, he gave up 10 hits in each of them, 7 runs and 6 earned runs, respectively. I mean, against Colorado, the Mets, Cincinnati, not top tier offenses. So I do expect them to give up some runs. I was kind of looking at Pirates team total over. The number is 3.5 at plus money. So I'm not totally against that either. Eventually, I just decided to pass on this game, but I do lean the dog.
Yeah, if you look at like the Pirates lineup today, it's kind of brutal. I mean, granted, like they don't really ever put out a good lineup, but like, 5 through 9 is kind of rough for this team. And that's of course if you even think Vogelback's having a decent year, which he's not.
6. Sawinski's good. Sawinski's good. Go to 6.
All right, we'll
I like Sawinski. He's really high prospect that they finally called up. And I know they're very high on him as well. The Pirates farm system is very high on them. Their team is very high on them. So
good news is Cobb's been super vulnerable this year. So maybe like anybody in that lineup could do damage today. Definitely don't mind the look. And I'll be honest, I don't have any strong take here either way. I think it's a lot of vig here to lay with Cobb. But the Pirates have been the Pirates this year, right? I mean, granted they've looked good at times, but for the most part they've been a below average team, and their record shows it. So yeah, nothing I love in here either. Red Sox Cardinals, Nick Pivetta, and so Palante. I don't even know what to make of him, Joey. What is your thoughts on what he's been doing this year? Because like he wasn't like outstanding in their farm system this year, and like he's looked really good. Now he goes to Fenway, a park where there's been a ton of runs in this series. However, today's a little different. Kind of like the growing narrative today, and it is how cold it is overall. I mean, not cold, right? But it's not as warm as it's been today, right across the board in almost every game. What's your take in this game?
So this will be, I mean, maybe like really his first real road start. He only really started one other game on the road in Chicago and Wrigley. This will be his, really first quote unquote real away start. He did come out of the bullpen to start the year. He did get like forced out of the minors. He only stayed in the minors for 2 years. He pitched really good in the minors. But they basically just, moved him all the way up right now. And here he goes. He's getting shoved into a hard spot here. I do think the Red Sox score some runs. And Pivetta, he has been pretty good. I know, again, Pivetta was a guy they traded for because they were pretty damn high on him coming over from the Phillies. And he's pitched, decent at times. He has got hit, but I think he probably has a good start here. But his advanced numbers are, see some regression are definitely going to come. He's given up almost 45% hard hit rate, almost 350 X weighted on base percentage, slugging percentage almost 500. I know St. Louis hit the shit out of the ball yesterday. So, again, this is probably a dog or pass for me. I don't expect Palante to pitch that long. That's the problem. He'll probably pitch about 4 innings, and then it'll be a bullpen game for the rest. And St. Louis's bullpen is not the best. I basically have them in the bottom 10 of bullpens this year. So, essentially, it's just a pass for me, but another dog spot for me.
I'm by no means like a gargler of ERA, but I mean the fact that Palante's WHIP is almost higher than his ERA is kind of crazy. So that dude keeps getting himself into jams. Bad things are going to happen. And as for you, Best Pie Eater, I'm not a complete Earth Day aficionado. I don't always replace it, but if I'm drinking it at home, yeah, I go with the Earth Day straw. So take notes. And also, Joey was busting my balls about it the last time. So now when I do a show with Joey, I just use the old plastic. It's just not worth the headache. All right, so next game up, Orioles Rays. Corey Kluber, Austin Voth. So this is a Jordan Lyles was scratched from this start. I think Michael Baumann is going to come in behind Voth.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
So this is a complete principal bet from me. This is an under 8.5 from me. Best bet. Again, a pure principal bet, primarily because this field definitely is playing bigger this year, and we know that because of the new dimensions, and we know that from how it's played earlier. It is not warm today in Baltimore by any means, and there is wind blowing in. I am not a Corey Kluber guy, and Austin Voth is definitely a tough pitcher to watch. And it's not like Baumann coming in after him is that great either, but these lineups are like woof looking. I couldn't even believe how many runs got scored yesterday. And a lot of them, I think, came late, which is even more interesting because Baltimore's pen, believe it or not, this has been like a top 10 bullpen this year, Joey. And Tampa Bay's pen is obviously a top 10 pen. I think overall, I just think this is a big ask. I think it's very hard to put a ball in the seats in this stadium when the weather is not very warm. I mean, 70 is not cold by any means, but it's not carry the ball out warm. And again, you got wind blowing in from left to center, or left towards home plate, over 10 miles an hour. Granted, this isn't like your prototypical sexy bet. You look at this, and Kluber hasn't been great, and Voth, he'll likely go 1 or 2 innings max anyway, and then Ballman hasn't been great behind him. But for me, again, I just think it's a big ask of these lineups to go over to score 9 runs here in this park on a weather like today. So yeah, that's why I fired there. But Joey, you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, no, I like the look. Tampa Bay, I continue to stress this. I think this team is very overrated, especially without Wander Franco in there. Their bullpen is good, and as you mentioned, Orioles bullpen is pretty damn good this year. The Orioles are a sneaky value team moving forward. I think they've been battling with the AL East, which is arguably the best division in baseball, and outside of it, they've been same thing, beating teams, putting up some runs. So this team, they're like 6 games under 500, so they're right there, not terrible. So I do like the look. I don't expect many runs here. I was on the under 2 games ago, first 5, and they didn't score any runs. So I do like it.
And Joseph, your New York Yankees versus the Blue Jays, Luis Severino. Some call this Sevy Day back in the day. And you say Kikuchi, always interesting when a vulnerable lefty goes up against this Yankees lineup. What's your take on this team? And, I had somebody on Twitter say to me either yesterday or the day before, like, what's so impressive about who the Yankees have beaten? Like, I mean, I don't think people realize, like, they're 16-1 their last 17, and that was after they were already like 15 games over 500 before this big streak. Just a real impressive run from them. As a Yankee fan, what have you been for? You just walking around with a chub all day?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what lineup they put out there, they fucking win. Doesn't matter who they bring in the pitch, they win. Shit is wild. The rotation, I mean, like, I don't know who that guy was on Twitter, but if he looks out who beat the teams with the most wins, like the winning records, it's the fucking Yankees. The Yankees beat up on everybody. It doesn't matter who the fuck they're playing, whoever they're putting in front of them. Kikuchi here, terrible spot for Kikuchi. He's about to get shelled, I think. Obviously, Rogers Center, depending on the weather, the ball does fly out there. And the Yankees have seen a lot of them. 120 plate appearances, 428 x-weighted on base percentage against, 640 slugging percentage against. Oof. He doesn't overpower anybody. Stanton probably goes yard. Everybody's been hit. I know. I'm pretty sure they took. Oh no, yeah, Stanton's in there. Judge is in there. Donaldson. I mean, the lineup. It doesn't even matter who they put in there. Hicks. The lineup does not look crazy today. You got Glaber in the 5, Hicks, Higashioka, Marwin Gonzalez, and Joey Gallo. So nothing crazy. Obviously, the Yankees are another pretty heavy favorite here. Toronto's bat you would think would wake up sometime this series, but Sevy has been absolutely great as well. So I think the Yankees win probably handily here again. Maybe I'll give me like 7-1 game, 7-2.
You think the Yankees could consider hiring me as like an anti-cooler for some of their bats? When Aaron Hicks was going through a bad streak and it caught my eye, I started talking shit about Aaron Hicks, and now he's like one of the hottest hitters in baseball. And then
I called you out on that. I told you. I said thank you. I said thank you. You did the same thing with fucking
Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo turned the corner a little bit. I mean, Gallo's not really great, but Hicks, you turned the corner on Hicks.
Gallo, did he double dong yesterday? Gallo did something big yesterday.
He hit a dong yesterday. Gallo hits dongs in games that are 9-1 that don't mean shit. In an 8th inning, it's like, oh, I'll hit a dong. All right, I got 13 on the air. Yeah, the game was out of hand already.
It's crazy how much he's kind of fallen off. But I mean, at least he's starting to show some life.
Ninth. He's batting ninth. It is what it is. He hits 20 home runs in a 9-hole. I'm happy.
But yeah, not a great spot. Not a great spot overall. But what's your like? I mean, I know obviously the market's going to give Tampa Bay some respect. I find it interesting here. Like, if I'm an odds maker, like, why not make the Yankees like minus 200, 220 in this spot? Because like, who the hell's taking the Jays at only plus 130 here?
True. Yeah.
But needless to say, we'll move on. So Mets, Marlins, and Joey, I know you got a bet here. Chris Bassett, Sandy. I say Alcantara, but I don't think that's how it's pronounced.
Alcantara? I know. I think it's Alcantara too. I mean, I was watching MLB Network last night, and basically he said the same thing. He's like, I don't know if it's Alcantara or Alcantara. So it made me feel a little better.
I've heard different announcers say it differently, but it seems like more of them say Alcantara. But either way, I know you got a play you like here, so fire away.
I mean, Sandy's got to be arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now. He's leading the NL in Cy Young. You get a nice juicy price versus the Mets. Chris Bassett, who has been pretty damn good this year. I am the Marlins did not start the big guy at first base, so I am kind of upset about that. But it is what it is. So my best bet will be Marlins money line plus 120. I think you get that's what I gave out last night. I think you get a little better number, maybe plus 125 right now. Obviously, Alcantara they both seen each other a lot. He's pitched against this Mets team almost 120 at bats. They bat 236 against him. Weighted on base percentage about a little bit over 300. He's striking them out about 20%. And as you guys seen, he's pitched absolutely phenomenal here. This is his first time against the Mets this year, so I do expect a little added boost. Obviously, the Mets are the best team in this NL East here. And on the other end, Bassett, he is another guy. He pitches to ground ball. He's a ground ball pitcher. His strikeouts have been somewhat up here, but they are playing out in Mets in Citi Field. He's given up almost over 350 weighted on base percentage on the year. Hard hit rate has been somewhat down. His strikeouts have actually somewhat been up compared to his career, but at the number, I got to just play this as a pure value play. Best pitcher in the NL versus Chris Bassett, who's number maybe 3 pitcher on this team alone. The lineups are basically, a toss-up. Maybe the Mets have a slightly better lineup here, but I'm taking the dog in the Marlins.
I can't mind that at all. I mean, I think I semi-faded Alcantara. Now I'm saying Alcantara. I think I semi-faded him like 2 starts ago in what would seem to be a tough road start for him. The dude just continues to mow down. Like, even when he's in trouble, like, it's just like, he pitches so confidently that you're like, everything's fine. Like, nothing wrong is going to happen here. Now, granted, he's probably got a tough start coming. He's got like a ridiculous inning streak going here, where he's just like not giving up anything to anybody. I will say this, Joe. I wanted your thoughts on this. Aaron Nola to win the Cy Young. He's 25-1 right now. If you look at who he's had to pitch against this year, like the dude's like, if you talk strength of schedule, which never gets mentioned in baseball and pitching, like he's faced like some of the toughest teams all year long. His ERA's in the 3s, his Ks are there. What's not there is the wins, but that's not his fault. His WHIP is under 1. He's just dominant every start, and nobody's talking about him. I think once Philly's schedule kind of opens up a bit and they have a little more softness to it, he could really start piling up and kind of slowly moving up this board. My issue with Alcantara is he's in the prime of what he's doing right now. So obviously he's getting all the Cy Young accolades right now. But he's playing for a team that likely won't make the playoffs, and they don't often give that award out to teams that don't make the playoffs. So I think Nola's got some juicy odds right now at 25-1, all things considered, because I'd argue when you take all the advanced stats in particular, like he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, yet he's like 18th on the board right now to win the Cy Young Award.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I do expect some regression from him, but yeah, the number is pure value right there. That's for damn sure.
But yeah, you bet them full game, right, Marlins?
Yes, Marlins full game.
There's an L in Marlins. All right, let's move on to the next game. So, Reds, Brewers, and Joey, it looks like we got another play here. You see, here's the difference with me running through these games instead of Holden. Like, I actually pay attention to what's on the sheet and what you bet, and I'm also obviously doing breakdowns. Like, Holden's job on this show is so fucking easy, and he just overcomplicates the shit out of it. It's actually distasteful to watch, and he's probably not watching right now, but I kind of hope he is. Kind of learn from a professional how to do it.
Yeah.
But Joey, Reds, Brewers, you got to play you like here.
He's definitely not watching. All right, so this is basically a fade of Mike Minor. I faded him, I think, all 3 games here. And the guy, he has his fastball 92, sitting at 92, lefty throwing it over the plate. He's been getting hit hard. He gave up 6 homers in his 3 starts thus far. He's only had 14 innings thus far, 6 homers. Pitched against Arizona twice and Washington once. So now he's pitching in. This is in the Great American Small Park here. The Brewers bats have came alive the last 2 games. So my best bet here will be Brewers first 5, team total over 2.5. I think to get to Mike Minor early here. The problem was I was if you don't have that line, maybe take Milwaukee on the first 5, lay the half run. The problem is I'm kind of scared of Adrian Hauser. I have actually been fading him a lot this year as well. His advanced numbers are pretty damn bad. 346 weighted on base percentage. He's only striking out 18% of batters, walking 10% of batters, slugging percentage against 458. So I don't really trust Adrian Houser. That's why I didn't take Milwaukee on the first 5. But I do think they score some runs. The bats came alive, and Mike Minor is a guy that I'm looking to fade. And this is a short price. They only get 3 runs in the first 5. That could easily happen in the first inning, a long dong. So I do expect they're obviously playing in the small park again. The under-over is set at 9.5, even 10 in spots. So I do like to look here. So Brewers first 5, team total over 2.5 will be official play of mine.
I like an absolutely stacked righties against him, and he's throughout his entire career, he's always struggled with righties. Now, granted, it is surprising he's even still in the league these days, but yeah, like to look.
It's because he's on a 23-win team. You know, they need somebody to eat innings, and his career, he normally, you know, it was him and Lance Lynn pitched over, I want to say, over 150 innings for 7 years straight. Obviously, this year they both ended on the IL, so I think it's going to end. But you know, he's just an inning eater.
Yeah, fair enough. Tigers, Rangers, Drew Hutchinson.
Yep.
Dane Dunning. So I'll be honest, I don't have a bet I like in this game, Joey, but this feels like a lot of respect for Dane Dunning in this spot. The problem is like the Tigers, like granted, they got to Taylor Hearn yesterday, who's super vulnerable against right-handed bats. And Dane Dunning's a little different, though. Dane Dunning's pretty good against right-handed bats. So, you know, maybe the better play might be an under here full game. But needless to say, I don't bet a lot of these games. I do have bet Texas a bit this year. I haven't bet a lot of Tigers games. But I know you were on the Tigers yesterday in blowout fashion. Anything you like here?
This is probably just a stay away. I don't really trust Drew Hutchinson. On the other end, I kind of do like Dane Dunning. His strikeout numbers are much better than last year. I know last year was officially his first rookie year in the league, so I know his strikeouts weren't crazy high, but he has transitioned a little bit of strikeout. Almost 23% of batters this year. Exit velocity is limited. Obviously, you know, he has been giving up a little hard hit, and I don't exactly trust this Tigers team. I know they called up Riley Green yesterday, so they are getting some young people in there. Colby Clemens is still playing. The guy can't hit for shit, but he's still on the team. And then they got Torkelson, so they got to keep calling up young guys because obviously the older guys haven't been doing it. They moved Javi Baez down to, I want to say he batted 6 yesterday, where he probably should be because the guy, if he doesn't friggin' hit a home run, the guy's striking out 70% of the damn time. He swings so hard. But Hutchinson's, I'm not really high on Hutchinson at all. He's given up 363 weighted on base percentage, 464 slugging on the year, barely striking anybody out. He's walking almost as many people as he's striking out. So I do lean with Texas here, but essentially I'm just going to pass. Yeah,
I don't blame you. I think that the Texas spot makes sense. I do think they're giving Dunning a little too much respect. But to your point, Hutchinson's been bad. All right, so Cubs, Braves, Kyle Hendricks, Ian Anderson. I know you like Ian Anderson, or at least liked Ian Anderson. I will say this about this series, though, as the Cubs go for a sweep here after the Braves won 14 in a row. Now, just so you know, like this was what I was trying to do with the Angels in the opposite direction. When teams go on these streaks where they either win a lot of games or lose a lot of games, and the opposite starts to happen, where like a long streak winning and they lose a game, or a long streak losing and they win a game, normally it does interesting things to a locker room. And maybe it's also the fact that things like progress to a mean or regress to a mean. However, the Angels are just like an absolute dumpster fire. But we're seeing it with the Braves now after a long winning streak, and they've just gone flat the last few games. This series here, obviously, the cap off, and they get Hendricks, who's always been a really good pitcher at Wrigley, and Ian Anderson's been really struggling. And the Braves sat a few bats today. I look, the Braves could win today, of course. They're a much better team than the Cubs. I just think you're crazy to be laying this price with the Braves today in particular. Especially with the Cubs going for a sweep. They're going to be motivated for it as well. This is a good psyche win potential for the Cubs as they go for this sweep. And on the Braves end, I mean, like I said, the sport ebbs and flows. I mean, you go from a streak where you were completely not even close to losing really any games over a stretch of the entire month of June. And now you've lost 2 in a row. And now it's a Sunday. We've sat a few bats. What's your take here, Joey? I would argue for some slight value on the Cubs in this spot, but what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. Another spot where I do lean with the dog. It is hard to bet against. Obviously, the Braves have been really hot, but if you looked at the teams they beat, they were all bottom feeders, really. I mean, not that the Cubs are any great team, but they do go out there and compete every day. The thing is, I'm not exactly high on Kyle Hendricks this year. Obviously, both these guys, I mean, their strikeouts are down. Their strikeouts are under 20% on the year, both of them. So the ball is going to get hit all over the place, depending on the weather. I'm not exactly sure if the wind's blowing out or not, but and Ian Anderson has gotten hit hard his last couple starts. He has really struggled, barely making it to the 5th inning. I do expect runs in here, depending on the weather. Both, hard hit rate for Ian Anderson is almost 45%. And the other end, slugging percentage against for Kyle Hendricks is almost 500. So, I do expect runs from both teams probably. I know, as you said, the Braves did water down their lineup a little bit, but it's still a pretty damn impressive lineup. So, essentially, this is a pass. I'm with the dog or, somewhat with the over.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. At this point, at least let the Braves win a game after their long streak before you're going to go back to laying 160 with them on the road in a fairly neutral pitchers matchup. All right, so Rockies Padres. Now, yesterday, that was the game that didn't allow me to get a 3-0 sweep. But again, with the way the 5th inning ended or started, I can't complain. Needless to say, it's been very warm in Colorado, and it's definitely been good for runs. Senzatella here. I know some people like him. I know he was on the IL for a bit this year, but he had a decent year either last year or the year before. I'm personally not a big Senzatella guy. Blake Snell, we know when Blake Snell's at home, he's typically a totally different pitcher. On the road in warm weather and Coors, man, it's tough to love him. I will say this, though, a 12.5 total with guys that have the upside that these two collectively have does feel high. But if you've watched this series, the ball is just jumping off the bat in this stadium in warm weather. It's been the warmest series, I think, of the season in Colorado. And, again, some runs for the most part have shown it. There could have been more runs. There's been a lot of guys left on base as well in this series. What's your take here, Joey? I don't love anything in particular. I think that there might be some shaded value on Colorado, who's playing confident baseball again at home over the last few games. And the Padres are in a little bit of a lull themselves. But you get Blake Snell in a spot where maybe he's due for some positive regression or progression, if you will. But a total of 12.5 with these two arms seems high. But again, scares me with the way the ball's traveling in this weather. So what do you think?
Yeah, this is just a pass for me. I don't trust Blake Snell as far as I could throw him. And in this park, Colorado is top 5 against lefties on the year. In basically all offensive categories. So I do expect them to score some runs. And Senzatella on the other end, his advanced numbers are really bad. He's basically the 4th worst starter compared to my sheet on today. Obviously, you have to take that with a caveat because he does pitch in Coors Field every other or whenever. No, every home start is in Coors Field. So you do have to take it with a caveat. And it looked like he did take a step forward last year and into this year. But this year, even his advanced numbers are not very good. 530 X slugging against. He's only striking out 11% of batters. He does barely walk anybody, but he's barely striking out anybody either. His hard hit rate is almost 45%. Exit velocity is almost 100. So this essentially is a pass. I know 12.5 is a high number, but I do expect some runs here. I do expect Blake Snell to give up some runs, that's for sure. So maybe if you're interested in Colorado team total, but that's probably at like 5.5. So essentially this is just a pass for me. That's where I'm at here.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's a tough game overall to love anything. I actually think the line's pretty sharp for that game. So before we go to the next game, where I know you're gonna have another best bet, I think it goes without saying, Brad, super sharp guy, clearly. It is weird though how smooth the show yesterday went on time, and then today the show on time, and it's been smooth. We'll have to go back to the archives, Joey, to figure out why that is, like why the show is running so much smoother. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, like we're going game by game in actual sequence. We're not missing any bets. We're not going to the wrong person. I don't know. I guess it's not funny as normal. We're not talking about sex parties or whatever. But I think the people are here for the winners most of all. Obviously, they want you could do the jokes. I'll bring the winners, and we'll be fine.
Yeah. I'll have to. After the show, I'm going to review some of the tape and figure out what's so different about this show than normal. But I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it, Brad. Appreciate the insight. All right, so next game up, and Joe, I know you got a spot here. Brady Singer against Koenig.
Yeah, Jared Koenig.
I've never even heard of this clown.
All right, Jared Koenig. Actually, a kid I went to college with has the same exact name, Jared Koenig.
You love to see it. Casey's minus 150, total 8. What do you like here, Joey?
Yeah, so Koenig, he did play. He started 2 games thus far this year, both on the road in Boston, in Atlanta. he did get hit pretty damn hard. But those are some pretty good offenses. If you look his numbers in AAA, they were absolutely phenomenal. The guy striking out over a batter per inning, 61 strikeouts in 53 innings, only 13 earned runs, 2.21 ERA, only 15 walks. So his numbers are pretty damn good. This will be his first home start, obviously in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. And then Brady Singer on the other end, nothing special. He has pitched 5 innings in his last 3 starts, but has given up 15 earned runs in those 3 starts. His advanced numbers are showing hard hit rate 44%, X-weighted on base percentage 340, slugging percentage almost 500. His strikeouts are his strikeouts are basically the highest they've been in his career, and he hasn't been walking anybody. I do expect this to be a low-scoring first 5, but I think Oakland gets a couple off Singer, and I really do think Koenig comes back, pitches his first home start. He'll probably have some family in attendance and pitches a really good start here. So I'm going to take the dog, another dog spot here. I'm going to take the Oakland Athletics first 5 money line. I think I got it at plus 130. Yeah, plus 130 via FanDuel.
This park has been brutal to hitters. I'm surprised it hasn't been statistically anyway the best pitcher's park in baseball, because I feel like every day, and when you add in the fact Oakland's lineup every day, there's like no runs ever scored in this park. So it's been pretty crazy. And granted, part of it is because Oakland doesn't have bats, but for the most part, they also don't have starting pitching. It just seems like overall there's never runs scored in this park, and it hasn't been super warm as well. So I guess that could help as well. But needless to say, I like the spot. Brady Singer went through a stretch of pitching where he was throwing really well for about a 3 or 4 game stretch, and then went right back to his normal routine. So I do like the spot. I do think there's good value there. And good call, like I said, it's not mentioned enough in baseball, the strength of schedule aspect, where pitchers sometimes face really good teams during stretches and struggle, and they go back to facing bad teams, and people think, this is a good pitcher pitching like shit, or a bad pitcher throwing good. But again, sometimes you go through a stretch where you face a lot of good teams, and then you get a bad one, and you got to try to take advantage. So like the spot, I do think there's some good value there. All right, so Mariners, Angels. Angels are my recent kryptonite. I have stopped betting them as of a few days ago, so they are no longer my kryptonite, and I won't be betting them for the foreseeable future. They have been an absolute the opposite of a cash cow, if you will. In this spot, though, Logan Gilbert, who's as crazy as it sounds, has been the best pitcher by far for Seattle. And Kenny Rosenberg, a guy I don't know much about. Maybe you do, Joey. Seattle's a pretty big favorite here, minus 170, total 7.5. I will say this about this game. It seems like just when you're about to write the Angels off, that's when they've been winning. But this is a big ask of them, especially with how good Gilbert's been. Gilbert's got some reverse splits, though, and if the Angels throw out a righty-heavy lineup, I guess theoretically they could get to him. Rendon's done for the year, though. This team just continues to have misfortune come their way. And I continue to say this. Ohtani is an injury waiting to happen with the way they use him. It's sad to say, but to me, it's just the reality. What's your take on this game? And maybe, actually, to be honest, Joey, this is 2 teams that have been underperforming all season, to be honest.
Yeah, I think both these teams stink. I would not take Seattle at minus 170 favored. I really don't care who's on the hill. I know Rosenberg I'm not very high on. He did pitch against the Yankees last start. Pitched, I guess, decent, 5 innings, 4 earned. And then that was his only first start of the year. He's been pitching out of the bullpen, but in the minors, he had started in the minors multiple times. This guy's been in the minors for like 6 years. That should say enough that he's clearly not that good. His strikeouts, he doesn't strike out that many people, and it hasn't translated, especially into the majors yet. His walks, he's walking a decent amount of people, so that's not a recipe for success. And Logan Gilbert on the other hand has been pretty damn good. I definitely don't trust the Angels' bats, that's for sure. They got about 2 bats in that lineup now. Trout and Ohtani, really, that I'm afraid of. After you get past that, especially the bottom of the lineup, are almost 7, 8, 9. It's almost automatic outs. Those 2 guys they got from the Yankees, which I mentioned 2 months ago, they can't hit for shit. And they still play him. They trouting him out there every single day.
Tyler Wade should be in single A.
Tyler Wade and freaking Andrew Velasquez. Velasquez is batting under 200. He's batting under the Mendoza line. He's playing every single day. I get it. He's good on defense, but when does it come a point where the offense should overtake a little bit? They need somebody that can hit. They can't score. So this is definitely a full pass for me. It's probably another dog or pass. I'm not laying 170 with Seattle Mariners, who are lucky to score 3 runs nowadays.
But Joey, Joe Madden was the problem, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Get the fuck out of here. Joe Madden was the problem. Yeah,
Um, that was sarcasm. Let's calm
I
down.
know. I know.
Uh,
I know.
I've been fucking attacked. So yeah, I mean it's been a tough stretch for sure. And I'll be honest, like as I said, as I often say, I'm kind of a closeted Seattle Mariner fan. This team should be playing. I mean, they should be pitching much better, hitting much better. It's a good lineup that hasn't been hitting at all. And Robbie Ray has not been anything what we wanted him to be. There's just been a lot of issues with this team. Again, Gilbert's been the kind of the silver lining, bright spot, but been tough stretch, and on the Angels side, yeah, I don't even know what to make of this team. Like it's just like there's too much talent with this team every year for them to be this bad. But again, starting pitching is always an issue with this team. They don't have anybody. All right, so we'll move on. Dodgers Guardians. It looks like Andrew Heaney
Yep.
came back, made a spot start last week, I believe. I've always liked Heaney. I think that him in a Dodger uniform is probably going to be good for him for the foreseeable future if he stays here. Shane Bieber, though, is a guy I just cannot get right this season. When you watch him pitch, he doesn't look anything like his Cy Young Bieber days. But I guess it goes to show you how good he was, right? Because if you look at his numbers, his advanced numbers, he's having a great season. So it just shows you how dominant he was that, like, even somebody like myself is like, doesn't look like the same pitcher. But kudos to him. He just continues to wiggle himself in and out of jams. Considering his whip is almost 1.2 and his ERA is what it is, his strikeouts are still up there. His velo is still down. But again, credit to him. He's finding his ways to wiggle in and out of jams. And how about more credit to Francona too, the Guardians, who had them doing anything this year, and here they are near first place in their division. So credit there. As far as this series, the Dodgers, I believe, Joey, have been playing 500 ball going back like 2.5 weeks now. This has not been actually might even be longer than 2.5 weeks. This has not been the typical Dodge. They're going through this little spurt here of average baseball. Needless to say, this team's going to heat up at some point. Here, 160 with Heaney against Bieber. What are your thoughts?
Fuck no. Hell no. Andrew Heaney, I mean, he hasn't pitched since April 17th. So he pitched in the minors. He did throw 3 rehab starts in the minors. Actually pitched pretty damn good. I think he let up 1 earned run in 12, 13 innings, and his strikeouts are through the roof. I don't know what the hell is going on since last year. I just keep replaying him in Yankee Stadium, and it was terrible. I get it here. He's coming back. He's getting, obviously a Guardians team barely strikes out, decent versus lefties. And then Bieber, I definitely prefer Bieber over Heaney, no doubt. He, as you mentioned, he was one of the best pitchers in baseball. Obviously, it hasn't fully translated this year. He has definitely struggled. Advanced numbers are showing, his hard hit rate 42% this year, slugging percentage against 445. So his strikeouts obviously up, walks down, which has been always the case, but he has been getting hit hard. This is another dog or pass. I'm not betting Andrew Heaney at minus 160. I don't care who the hells they're playing. Mookie Betts again just went on the IL, so he's off out of the lineup here. I continue. I cannot put a single dollar on Andrew Heaney as a favorite. I know, I get it. He's pitched good in his he started 2 games this year, both in April. So he started 2 games. He pitched good. He went to the IL and then pitched 3 rehab starts. I don't expect him to pitch more than 5 innings at most. He probably pitches 4 innings and then go to the bullpen. So that probably would be a little bit of advantage for the Dodgers. But again, this is another dog or pass, and likely I'm just going to pass.
Can't blame that at all. And but what I can blame is the lack of likes on this video. Feel free to, I assume a few of you maybe have a few fingers up your ass. Maybe you're doing like really weird shit while this video's on. And that's cool. We don't complain about fetishes here. However, you can like the video. It's not hard, right? I mean, it's just, boom, like the video. Appreciate that. Thank you. No need to be douchebags. Thank you very much. Moving on to the next game. Here we have Diamondbacks Twins. This is going to be my best bet, or my last best bet of this video. Merrill Kelly, Chris Archer. This is a pure Chris Archer fade for me. So I like what the Diamondbacks have been doing. I know yesterday they went a little dry with the sticks, and the Twins just routed them. But I think that this team has been hitting relatively well. And Chris Archer is giving up a weighted OBA of over 310, both lefties and righties. I think, and look, when I like to target Merrill Kelly is always at home. He's always been a better pitcher at home. Now, granted, this year his splits aren't as egregious as they've been throughout his entire career. But he for whatever reason, he loves pitching in this ballpark. And this Twins lineup offers a lot of right-handed bats, but Merrill Kelly's often pretty good against right-handed bats. Lefties really bother Kelly. And on the Twins team, who really bothers you from the left side on this team? Not many bats. Max Kepler, maybe, if you're into that. Needless to say, this lineup up and down is basically all right-handed bats. And I think Kelly has a good spot start here. And the fact that you can get this, the fact that you were able to get this um, minus 104, thank you very much. So happy to take Merrill Kelly in this spot, first five. Minus 104 money line. And again, look, Kelly could get shelled here, definitely. I just think Archer's got a blow up start waiting to happen. And it might not be against Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks not exactly contest pitchers, but their lineup's not bad. Like, you look at what they put out every day, it's not bad by any means. And I like this spot. They were putting up, I think, 6 or 7 runs back-to-back games prior to yesterday. Their sticks are live. So yeah, I like the spot with Merrill Kelly. What do you think they're doing?
Yeah, I agree. Archer is definitely due for a blow up, and I think it's coming soon. His advanced numbers are really bad, even this year. He has no more velocity on that fastball, and Merrill Kelly, as you mentioned, definitely a guy I like to back. He definitely at home as well. Pitches much better at home here, and the Diamondbacks lineup is not crazy. This is another team that has how many wins? They got like 28. They're like 6 games under 500. Another team that you would think they're worse than they really are. This team, goes out there, competes. They have some young bucks at the bottom of the lineup that go out there and put up quality at bats every time through. Alex Thomas, I definitely do like the look here.
Cool. Glad we're on board. All right. Last but not least, Sunday Night Baseball, Astros, White Sox. Was yesterday the Verlander blow-up start? Was that yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. That was interesting. Christian Javier against Michael Kopech. So nice little pitchers duel here. Question for you, Joey. Where do the Astros get these starting pitchers from? Like, if you look at their rotation, like, it's crazy. Like, Framber Valdez is awesome. Christian Javier now is all of a sudden like a freak. Obviously, Verlander's at the top, and yeah, he had an anomaly bad start yesterday, but and they're still missing
Luis
McCullers.
Gonzalez.
Oh yeah, and I mean McCullers, I'd argue, has more talent than that entire rotation when he's healthy.
McCullers, that.
So I don't know where they get these pitchers from, but kudos to them, and obviously their lineup's always good. But what are your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, so Sunday Night Baseball, I think, again, most of these games have been overs, but both these pitchers are really, really impressive, and their advanced numbers have shown that. I mean, Kopech, I feel like I'm a big Kopech guy, but I feel like every time it's a big game, he struggles. He does, like against the Yankees, he walked the shit. I think he walked 4 guys in a row. He does get somewhat nervous. His walks are, somewhat up because he throws so damn hard. He throws 100 miles an hour. But, I mean, his advanced numbers are absolutely amazing. Batting average against 200, weighted on base percentage under 3, striking out about 26% of batters. And Javier has really good numbers, the same. Batting average is 203, slugging. He's striking out 30% of batters. He's barely walking anybody. Weighted on base percentage 285. Both these guys have really, really good numbers. But these Sunday Night Baseball games, there's been a lot of overs. Essentially, this is a pass. I do lean probably if you're going to take an under, I would lean with the first 5, so you just limit it to the starting pitchers and don't mess with the bullpens, because the White Sox bullpen is definitely struggled compared to last year. Houston's basically middle of the pack as well, so I would prefer first 5 under if you were going for it. But this is essentially just another pass for me.
Kopech is just absolutely brutal versus right-handed bats. Like, he's literally in the Alex Manoah conversation against right-handed bats. Like, the two of them weighted OBAs of like 180 against right-handed bats. It's just absolutely insane. And we know on the Astros end, they're mainly right-handed bats. Of course, big Yordy from the left side. But outside of that, I mean, not too much. I mean, not too much really scares you on that team. Tucker, if you're into that, from the left side. But to your point, yeah, Kopech has been a little odd in these big games. Man, he's filthy, and it's good to see him coming around because, you kind of knew a few years ago when you watched him pitch out of the pen and even as a glorified bullpen guy, where he was getting a little more innings. I mean, the dude's an absolute freak.
He was such a highly touted prospect too coming out.
Yeah, and when his control's on, he's absolutely freakish. As far as this line goes, though, I mean, does Houston deserve 160 here? I don't know. Javier's been great, and the question becomes: the White Sox are another team that's kind of been underachieving this year. Does yesterday kind of like spark this team, and maybe they go on a little run? Because that had to be a nice little momentum. And, of course, Altuve with the big error that extended that inning longer must have felt nice for the White Sox. And even, like, Harrison was, like, dancing into home plate while Altuve made the error. So maybe this team gets a little more boost from a morale perspective. But either way, I don't love anything in this. So just to recap, Joey, what's your best bets?
Yeah, so I got Marlins money line plus 120, Brewers first 5 team total over 2.5 minus 110, Athletics first 5 money line plus 130 are my 3 best bets.
Cool. And I bet Orioles Rays under 8.5. That's definitely going to be a grab your ass cheeks type of bet with the pitching matchup. But again, that's just a pure principal park dimension play for me. And then Diamondbacks first 5 money line behind Merrill Kelly against Archer. So that wraps it up. 5 bets. We'll aim to go 3-2. Pick up some cheese. Obviously, any better would be great, but no problems with 3-2. Guys, thank you to everybody for watching the video, and the 3 people that actually liked the video. Thank you to you guys as well. It's Father's Day, so be sure to give some kudos to anyone in your life that is a father, of course, including your own. But with all this said, gamble responsibly, stay safe, and as always, run pure. See you guys next time.
Let's get this midget money. What the